Hello, Norelvis.
Hello, Clayton.
Have you ever stopped to think why in many schools some students seem to fit in perfectly while others seem to fight against the current?
For decades, the standard response to school failure for certain groups of students was the student himself.
There was talk of cultural deficit, lack of preparation, family problems. The guilt was always external to the school.
But in the late 1980s, a researcher named Gloria Ladson Billings looked at this scenario, especially for Black students in the United States, and decided to turn the question on its head.
First, instead of asking, what's wrong with these students, she dared to ask, what's right with them?
And more, what are the teachers who managed to achieve success with these students doing differently?
This simple change in perspective was the seed for one of the most transformative ideas in modern education, culturally relevant pedagogy.
To understand the importance of this question, we need to talk about the deficit model.
For a long time, education has functioned as a bank. The school deposits the right knowledge in students seen as empty.
If the student does not learn, it is because he has a deficit. Culturally relevant pedagogy breaks this logic.
Now, Elvis, let's continue talking about culturally relevant pedagogy.
Of course.
To understand the importance of this question, we need to talk about the deficit model.
For a long time, education has functioned as a bank.
The school deposits the right knowledge in students seen as empty.
If the student does not learn, it is because he has a deficit.
Culturally relevant pedagogy breaks this logic.
It is based on the principle that every student arrives at school with a vast repertoire of knowledge, experiences, and skills shaped by their culture.
It is like an iceberg. The school often only sees the tip, the standard language, the expected behavior,
but ignores the immense base of culture that is submerged.
Ladson Billings was not proposing a method, but a paradigm shift.
What if the school, instead of ignoring this foundation, used it as a foundation for building academic knowledge?
We will detail the 3 pillars.
The first is academic success.
And here there is a fundamental point that dispels many myths.
Culturally relevant pedagogy does not give up rigor.
It's not about facilitating content or lowering expectations.
Rather, it's about having the highest expectations for all students.
The difference is in the how.
It's about creating bridges between the students' world and academic content.
It's using their passion for games to teach physics.
Or the ability to argue in a rhyme circle to develop essay writing.
The ultimate goal is the same, academic excellence.
The path is what becomes more significant and therefore more effective. Hey Clayton, and what's the second pillar?
The second pillar is cultural competence.
Think of it as a two-way bridge.
The school should not force the student to choose between his identity and success.
He doesn't need to leave his culture at the door to be a good student.
Cultural competence means that the school validates and legitimizes the student's culture of origin.
But it doesn't stop there.
It also gives you the tools to understand and navigate the dominant culture.
It's about adding, not subtracting.
It is to form an individual who can move fluidly
and confidently in different cultural universes without losing his essence.
He learns standard Portuguese,
but understands that his linguistic variety is also rich and valid.
Okay, and the last pillar?
Finally, the third and perhaps most revolutionary pillar,
sociopolitical consciousness.
Here, education transcends the classroom.
It is not enough to learn about the world.
It is necessary to learn to read it critically.
Students are encouraged to use knowledge to question reality.
Why does my neighborhood have less infrastructure?
Why are certain groups portrayed in a stereotypical way in the media?
Who benefits from this political decision?
The classroom becomes a laboratory for citizenship.
As the great Brazilian educator Paulo Freire said,
education is a political act.
This pillar ensures that it is a conscious and liberating act.
All of this sounds amazing.
But how does it work in practice?
Let's look at a real example.
Get to know the work of professors like Eric Gottstein in Chicago.
Instead of abstract problems,
his students use mathematics to investigate social justice issues in their own community.
They analyze data on incarceration,
income distribution,
access to health,
They create graphs, maps, and reports,
that not only demonstrate their mathematical mastery,
but expose inequalities
mathematics ceases to be a boring subject.
and becomes a powerful tool for reading and writing the world. Let's talk more about this.
Yeah, let's continue.
Now imagine a history lesson
Instead of focusing only on the great heroes,
and events of the textbooks.
the teacher launches the Our History project
Students become historians.
of their own families and communities,
They interview the elders, rescue photos.
investigate the history of their neighborhood,
The final result is not a test,
but an exhibition for the community.
a documentary, a memoir.
In doing so, they learn about primary sources.
Research and historical storytelling in a deeply personal way.
They realize that their story matters too.
Hey Clayton, Dr. Krutka said that tomorrow in class we will have an illustrious presence.
Is it? So, what do you think about recapping culturally relevant pedagogy?
That's right.
Let's get started then.
The classroom of many colors. In a classroom filled with sunshine and stories, there were two special teachers, Professor Clayton and Professor Norelvis. They believed that every student was a star, shining with their own unique light. One day, a new student named Leo arrived. He was quiet and kept to himself, his sketchbook his only friend. He drew pictures of faraway places, places that looked very different from their town. Professor Clayton noticed Leo's drawings. "These are wonderful, Leo," he said. "Where are these places?" Leo mumbled. "It's the village where my grandmother lives." Professor Norelvis had an idea. "Class," she announced, "this week we're going on a journey. We will all share stories and pictures of places that are special to our families." A girl named Mia shared a photo of her family celebrating Diwali, the festival of lights. She told them about the colorful Rangoli patterns they made and the sweet treats they ate. Then, a boy named Sam showed them a video of his grandfather playing the bagpipes in a parade in Scotland. The classroom filled with the sound of the pipes, and everyone tapped their feet to the rhythm. Finally, it was Leo's turn. He shyly held up his sketchbook and showed them his drawings of his grandmother's village. He told them about the bustling market, the vibrant clothes, and the delicious food. As Leo spoke, his voice grew stronger. He wasn't just sharing drawings, he was sharing a piece of himself. The other students listened, their eyes wide with wonder. The classroom was no longer just a room in a school. It was a world of stories, a tapestry woven with threads of different colors, cultures, and traditions, and every thread was beautiful. From that day on, Leo wasn't so quiet anymore. He had found his voice, and his classmates had found a new friend. All because two wonderful teachers knew that every story, no matter how different, deserves to be heard.
Okay, but what does Billings tell us about this?
Gloria Ladson-Billings herself warns us.
Culture is not static.
Therefore, she proposes a remix of her theory.
Embracing the concept of culturally sustainable pedagogy.
What's the difference?
Relevant may sound like using the student's culture.
Only as a hook for real content.
Sustainable is deeper.
It means that the school has an active role in maintaining
And nurturing the cultural and linguistic practices of the communities. It is to understand that funk is not just a beat,
but a complex cultural expression.
that the world of games has its own narratives and economies,
To sustain this culture is to see it not as a distraction,
but as a legitimate space for learning and innovation.
but then this pedagogy is a sure thing.
No way, applying this pedagogy is not simple.
Many teachers face real challenges.
The pressure to score on standardized exams,
Rigid curricula, crowded classes, and the lack of adequate training.
there is also resistance from those who believe that the school should be neutral.
And that focusing on culture is a waste of time.
Overcoming this requires courage.
Creativity and above all, collective work.
It starts with small steps,
Getting to know your students better, trying a different project.
connecting with other like-minded teachers.
All right, folks, I've been reading this thing on culturally relevant pedagogy. Sounds like a bunch of academic mumbo-jumbo to me. What the hell is it?
Mr. President, culturally relevant pedagogy is about connecting teaching to students' cultural backgrounds. It's about making education more inclusive.
Inclusive? You mean like letting everyone in, even the losers?
No, it's not about that. It's about respecting and integrating students' cultural identities into the curriculum, making it relevant to their lives.
So you're telling me we're teaching kids to, what, feel good about themselves? That's not how I got to the top, let me tell you.
It's not about feeling good, Mr. President. It's about equity in education. Gloria Ladson Billings, she's the scholar who developed this concept.
Billings? Never heard of her. Is she one of those woke professors trying to ruin America?
No, Mr. President. She's a respected academic. Her work is about improving education for all students, especially those from marginalized communities.
Marginalized? Sounds like a fancy word for losers. Look, I'm all for education, but let's not turn it into some kind of charity case.
It's not charity, sir. It's about fairness and opportunity. Education should empower everyone, not just the privileged.
Empower? That's a big word. All right, I'll think about it, but don't expect me to start quoting Billings anytime soon.
Wow, the President of the United States was here in our classroom.
I still can't believe it. I'm shaking all over.
Me too.
Well, but we have to continue for our colleagues.
You are right.
Let's continue then. So culturally relevant and sustainable pedagogy is a profound change.
It is to move from an education that asks, is this student ready for school?
To one that asks, is our school ready for this student?
It is an education that sees students not as empty vessels to be filled,
but as sources of knowledge with rich experiences that can and should shape what happens in the classroom.
And to finish this conversation, I want to leave 5 points for you to discuss in your classroom in small groups.
1. The hidden curriculum. In addition to official subjects, what does your school teach about which cultures and knowledge are important and which are not? Think of the paintings on the walls, the books in the library, the celebrated heroes.
2. Mirrors and windows. In your classes, how often do you see yourself reflected? A mirror. And how often do you learn about the lives of others? A window. Is there a balance? Who is being consistently mirrored and who is always looking out the window?
3. Culture is more than a holiday. How can we go beyond one-off celebrations such as Black Awareness Day or Indigenous Peoples Day and authentically integrate students' cultures into the daily life of the classroom in mathematics, science, geography?
4. The power of language. Slang, accents, and dialects are often seen as mistakes to be corrected. How can we begin to see them as valid linguistic resources and part of the student's identity, while still teaching the standard norm as another tool in their repertoire?
5. Education for what? Should the main objective of education be to prepare for the job market or to form critical citizens capable of transforming society? Does one goal cancel out the other, or does culturally relevant pedagogy show that it is possible and necessary to unite the two?
Think about it. Discuss. Education is a dialogue, and your voice is fundamental. Thanks for watching.
References: Ladson Billings, G. 2014, Culturally Relevant Pedagogy 2.0, aka The Remix.